What's up, Epic 7? So some of you are struggling to get Dagger Sicar this month, so I'm going to show you a full auto way to get your 21 million. We're going to be cheesing the system, so to speak. This is something I was a little bit concerned about early on, but it's been around long enough. We've gone through an entire patch. Smilegate has not said word one about it. They've not attempted to patch it, so I'm assuming they're just going to let it sit and be a legitimate gameplay method for this time around. Guarantee it won't be here next time, but we're going to show you how to get your Dagger Sicar score banged out with pretty basic low-level gear as long as you have a PC. You can try to do this on your device, but it's not easy. First, let's go over the team. So on this team, we're going to be using Brieg, Lilka, Doris, and Child Senya. Now, Child Senya, we're going to build a little bit odd, right? I'm going to put her on a damage-dealing artifact. Trust me on this. Just slap Beautiful Seasons or the Strawberry Cake one. If you don't have either of those, use any damage-boosting artifact like a Symbol of Unity would probably be your next best bet. And I went ahead and put a crit chance neck on her just to give us an 80% chance to crit. And closer to 100 you can get, the better. I'm not going to bother regearing for more than that. That's really plenty. If you want to, spec her out to be full DPS, you could probably do this a little faster. You might find that to be advantageous if you're on a device to go full DPS on her. Maybe you'll be able to complete this on a device before you crash if you go full DPS. Next, we're going to use Brieg. I didn't modify my Brieg at all. It's just my normal Expedition Brieg. He is way over-tuned for this fight. You don't need to be anywhere near this strong or hard-hitting, though I do recommend you try to keep the speed range, 170 or above on the speed. Next, we're going to run Doris. Doris, I have forgotten to put a neck on her, but you know what? We're going to run it anyway. 199 speed. You want her to be able to take turns. She is your source of healing. I put her on the Warhorn artifact to, give a little bit of extra damage to my damage dealer, who is a child, but you know what? We're going to run it. And Lilka, I ran her, you know what? I also forgot to put a neck on Lilka, and I don't care. We don't need a neck for what we're doing here. A DPS artifact or attack boosting artifact to help Senya out, sure. Doesn't really matter what artifacts you have on these units. Player's choice, and obviously the gear doesn't matter too much either. Okay, this is how the fight works. So make sure you turn auto off at the start of the fight. We're going to be using mostly S1 skills, and we're going to hold back our S3 on Senya to keep everybody healthy. At the start of the fight, Yuffine hits everybody doing some damage. I'm going to make a liar out of myself now because we're pretty hurt, so I'm going to use the S2 just for some healing, top everyone off, and now we start using S1s. We need to hit Yuffine 8 times, ideally. So that was 1 hit. Here's 2 hits. If you can only do 7, that should work fine too. Here's 3 hits, 4 hits, 5 hits. Now Yuffine's going to scream and set everybody on fire. This is a good time to get rid of the fire, so we'll use the S3 on Senya to put out the flames. Now, having done this before, I found that my Lilka's speed tuning was a little bit off. She didn't go when I wanted her to go. If you discover this too, there's a couple ways you can handle it. You can use Doris to 50% CR pusher, or you can use her S2 skill to CR pusher. Either one works pretty well. I'm going to just use the S2 here. You have to find your own way. Run it through just doing S1s, and if you find your rotation is out of order so you can't get all your debuffs off in the next phase, then try using Lilka's S2, try using Doris's S3, try using Lilka's S2 and Doris's S3. See what you can do to CR manipulate it so that you make sure all your debuffers go together in a bundle. So we'll S2 here. Let me see. There is hit number 6. And here is hit number 7. So we only got 7 of our 8 hits in, but that's okay. What's important is you notice the CR bar. All of my debuffers are right here at the bottom, ready to go. There's no way Yuffine's going to cut them. If Yuffine cuts one of your debuffers, you need to start over, tinker with your speed tuning, tinker with having Doris push people, having Lilka CR push herself until you get a favorable turn order. Because what we need to do is drop 4 debuffs into this nullifier to make it go away. Brieg has got 1 debuff on his S3. Well, technically he has 2, but Yuffine is immune to defense break. So this is 1 debuff. That'll take us from a 4 to a 3. So we drop the S3 in. There is no RNG in these skills. 100% chance to proc. Takes us from a 4 to a 3. Now, Doris has a blind on her S1. There is RNG in this one. It's an 80% chance to stick. So we just hope we don't get 20%ed. We S1, taking her from a 3 to a 2, so we did not get 20%ed. So we're in good shape. Now it's Lilka's turn. Lilka's S3 has 2 debuffs, decrease attack and decrease speed. Both will stick. So once we do that, that gets us all 4 debuffs in, which advances the bar all the way to the end. We just need our last hit in for that 8th hit, and we push phase. Bang. And that's it. You guys are done. Literally, that's it. You want your Dagger Sicar now? All you need to do is turn on auto and turn off Senya's skills. Simple as that. See, when Senya gets hit enough times, she's going to trigger the skill called No Bullying. And this skill is going to reset the S2s of everybody on the team. And our team is specifically chosen because everybody on our team has non-attack S2s. Because we have non-attack S2s, we don't run the CR bar up. And Senya has a special ability in this fight that when she attacks, she doesn't raise the CR hit, or it doesn't raise the progression bar on Yuffine. Now, it takes 1 or 2 turns to stabilize, but as you can see, we are there. It's now stabilized. Nobody else is going to be hitting. And we've got 3 million points, and we're doing about 40k damage per hit. So it's going to take a while, but we will eventually get to 21 million just from Senya being our DPS. It really is that simple. But there's a catch. There's always a catch, right? The catch is that Hall of Trials uses a good chunk of RAM. You can see right now Epic 7's running at 1.6 gig of RAM, running Hall of Trials. Most devices only have about 4, some of the more advanced ones have 8 gig of RAM. And as Hall of Trials goes on, you're going to use more and more and more RAM. That's going to eat up your resources, and eventually you'll use so much RAM, it will crash your computer. So you're or your device. So you're kind of at a race. Can we get to 21 million before my computer crashes? Now, a computer with 32 gig of RAM, no problem. Even 16 gig of RAM will probably make it to 21 million pretty easily. And here we are, guys, 15 minutes later. Now, what you can do is you can go in first and see how much damage you can do with your Lilka. And you might be able to stop a little bit early because your Lilka's finishing move should be 1 or 2 million points damage minimum. We'll go ahead and drop this S3 here just to end it off. I got 1.5 million out of that. Now, you want to pay attention to your RAM because, like I said, this eats up a lot of resources. Let's check it out. Here's my task manager. We're all the way up to 5.7 gig of RAM. If you're running a 4 gig device, your phone is crashed by now. If you're running an 8 gig device, it's probably hot enough to keep you warm in the winter, but you might still be okay. If you're running an emulator, you probably have crashed unless you have told your emulator to allocate more RAM to itself. So this really is a trick primarily for people on the PC client. So if you want to try to do this fast, you want to try to do it on your device, my recommendations are, of course, close all your apps down, everything that could possibly be running in the background, do a fresh reload of Epic 7, jump in and do this, and stack your Senya with damage. Put 350 crit damage on her, make her hit like a truck, as much as a child can hit like a truck, and if that doesn't work, you can push yourself all the way to phase 2, and once you get to phase 2, you'll be able to get more damage per hits out of her. In the meantime, let's go ahead and top this one off. All you need to do is exit the stage. We're at 23 million, well over the Dagger Sicar threshold. Now you can just hit auto and turn everybody's skills off and let your team get killed because you are done. You have got your Dagger Sicar score locked in. You've got your 21 million points. If you want to try to push it higher, if you want to go for a top 100 score, you do you. I've got better things to do than setting my graphics card and RAM on fire, running this at such insanely high resources just to get a slightly higher score in Hall of Trials. The people that are procking scores in the 150 to 170 million point range, those guys are running a lot of RAM. They're setting this on auto for hours, and they're doing it in phase 3 where you get a lot of points. But there you go. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And you guys have a great rest of your day.